And I'll say it again. Whatever the position, outfield position, if you are good enough to be one of the championship players of the season and you come down, no disrespect, you come down to this level, you could stick him anywhere.
Yeah.
Welcome back to part 2 of Yahoo Footballing Weekly with me, Yahoo columnist Neil Humphreys.
And me, Yahoo editor Chia Keong. And back with us, Eddy from Lion City Sailors fan club.
Hello.
Yeah.
You could tell why he's back because his team carrying the nation's hopes.
I think it's the lone bright spot in the Singapore football for the past month.
Absolutely. And it's had lots of comments from your good selves, which is why, as always, week on week, the comments are getting longer, the responses are getting longer, which keeps our sponsor, StarHub, very happy.
Thank you
and
very
they've
much.
got something just for you.
Yeah, obviously they are the official Premier League broadcaster. So if you want to watch your Premier League, get your Premier League fix, sign up for their Premier League Plus packages. I think it's $25.22 per month. So if you sign up now, you can get 1 year free broadband. What a deal.
Brilliant deal.
Brilliant deal.
Brilliant deal.
But advice, the offer is ending very, very soon. So if you want, quickly go and sign up and you get your 1 year free broadband deal.
Do it. And do it for me. Because every time he reads out this special offer, a little piece of my soul dies. Because I'm locked into another contract that I'm not going to talk about for 2 years. I paid twice as much as that.
Yeah.
It's a great deal.
It's a great deal.
Do sign up for it. Now, okay. Speaking of signing up, we went a little bit viral, I noticed this week on TikTok. A couple of clips that we talked about last week. Two things. One, I suggested that the physicality between the Singaporean Lions and the South Koreans left a lot to be desired, shall we say. Because their heights are about the same, their average weight, height are the same, and yet for some reason, the Koreans look like giants and the Singaporeans look like minnows. Well, not surprisingly, we got comments about just that.
Yeah. So first comment from Bingster0225. On the question of players' fitness, I would like to think that our players are professional and manage their own bodies and prepare for games professionally. But you can't help but also look at players from Indonesia, Malaysia, and they look much fitter than our players. These countries also have an identifiable style of play that is understood and internalized by the players. If we do go down the route of what used to be the foreign talent schemes, then there must be a plan for these foreign players in terms of their careers within and beyond football, so that it doesn't seem that it's only for short-term benefits. Perhaps they can contribute to Singapore in some way, like giving back to grassroots and so on. There are two points there. First is the physicality of the Singapore versus South Korea. The other thing is about obviously the foreign talent scheme we've been talking about. Perry Ng for quite like almost a month now. But I think for the physicality part, I feel that sometimes we tend to underrate the part about being physically better than your opponents. We always say our skills. We say it's like the romantic verb notion is like skills. If you have the skills of the Brazilians or French or the Spanish team, you can, even if you're small size like Messi or whoever, you can easily trump the other players. But the most basic, I think, if you are physically more overpowering side, you definitely have an advantage. You look at the Germans, you look at some of the Eastern European teams. Sometimes they get their results just because that they can last the distance. I mean, you look at Shawar Anwar. I mean, great player. Probably the most informed striker for Singapore national side right now. Before the Fundies get back to their top fitness, and against South Korea, he was like standing against all the South Korean defenders. He was like a head smaller, and then because it's such a slight build, he barely got the ball, and then I think he was substituted if I'm not wrong. And I mean, it's a waste of his talents. Somebody advised him that maybe you should be a bit stronger, build up a bit more, and get ready for this kind of games against this kind of defenders. Who knows? There might be some edge they can find.
What do you think, Eddy? You got some big lads in the Lion City Sailor side, both local and international. What are your thoughts on this?
Actually, I think when it comes to, I think Han Keong was mentioning like Germans, Eastern Europeans, they're bigger. I think actually we don't have to look that far. If you cast your mind back to a decade or so ago, why was Singapore the plucky underdog doing well against our fellow Southeast Asian teams? The reason was not because we were more skillful than them, for sure. The Thais and the Vietnamese have always been more skillful than us. And I get why comments say like, Messi is not the biggest guy, but yeah, that's when the skill level is the same, right? If you're comparing like apples and apples, then yeah, sure. But in this case, the skill level, we're already behind them. So if you cast your mind back to the Tiger Cups, we brutalized the Southeast Asian opponents with set pieces, Precious, Safwan. Basically, it was just like every set piece, right? You could see the fear in our opponents' eyes because we were bigger than them. But I think the Thais and the Viets have caught on, so they've now like better sports science and everything. So now, not only do they have the skill advantage, they also have the physical advantage, and that's why I think that goes part of the way to explaining our decline,
Which is a great way of bringing in both of Bengster's points, which is this discernible style of play. Now, the Malaysians and the Indonesians, they have a style of play. When Singapore played South Korea, they tried this very defensive 10-man behind the ball style of play, which you can only execute if you're strong and muscular and physical and can go the distance. It can be done. It's negative and ugly and dull to watch. But if you look at the teams who did it over the years, whether it's Wimbledon or Cambridge or
Chelsea under Mourinho.
Or Greece in 2004, I was there. They just had a load of big lads. And more recently, Iceland did it in 2016. You need a rugged physicality that needs to be trained and indoctrinated on the training ground, everything from conditioning, fitness, diet. But Singapore hasn't done that. They're trying to play away without the physicality to back it up. So I don't see how they think they're going to go forward with the wrong kind of physiques for the wrong kind of play. It's just not going to work. But as always, let us know what you think. Send all your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_NY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Which ties in nicely with the next comment.
So Hiroyuki Sinchi 9873 says, dieting and professionalism are very, very important to athletes for sure. But to be honest, it's the athletic qualities and skills that matter. Spanish players are on an average smaller in stature than the Germans, but Spain won the World Cup before, and our consistent contenders, think about Iniesta, Xavi, Messi of Barcelona, all smaller in stature. True to a point, but Germany has won more than Spain. So that Spain generation which won the World Cup is a very special bunch. I think you should view it in isolation, where those were really talented, a very talented generation, and they just managed to win because despite their lack of stature. But if you see a lot of current World Cup winners, even the Argentina that won last year, they had big lads as well. They had big lads which support Messi. They run to the ground for Messi to create his magic. So physical, I still feel that physical prowess is still is underrated in this kind of situation.
No, I agree. But this thing about Lionel Messi, because it comes up a lot. Lionel Messi is 1.7 meters and the average Singaporean is 1.73 meters. So in theory, the average Singaporean is smaller than the greatest footballer who ever kicked a ball. But Eddie's point, you look at the skills. We don't have those skills. But that still underestimates something about Lionel Messi. If you watched him in the recent World Cup, his conservation of energy, his task management, his energy management, his diet, fitness, training management, all cannot be underestimated either. Yes, he's starting from a much higher skill set than anybody else on the planet. No one is disputing that. But the fact he can still win a World Cup at 36 is because of things that Singaporeans can adopt, which is greater fitness, diet, nutritioning, conditioning, and match management.
Correct.
These are skills that can be trained. That is something that the Lions can get from Messi.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how.
If I may say something, I think the importance of sports diet and nutrition cannot be overlooked at all. If you look at the Lion City Sailors Academy, when I did an interview of one of the players' fathers, right, he talked about the importance of it. And he said the club actually makes sure that they eat the bento boxes that are provided to them after training. And that's so important, right? They want you to make sure that you eat it because they have already done all the calculations.
Yeah.
You have to eat this. And it starts at, the kid is only 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So if it starts then obviously it's important.
Yeah.
I agree with this guy, obviously. Skill can overcome that. But we don't have the skill. Chanatip in Thailand, the skillful player. He's very small and very slight. But we don't have anyone on his level. So I think this is one way to try and equalize.
Yeah, and also briefly, yes, we can't just use the skill thing as a fallback because, all right, you take skill on its own. Ronaldinho and Neymar, off the top of my head, had greater skills than anybody else of their generation. But Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi have outlasted both of them because of the way they conduct themselves off the pitch. Yeah. And that's the difference.
And if you want to get a great example, Ronaldo is a great example of conditioning. He used to be slight when he was with Manchester United. When we first saw him, he was repeatedly hacked to the ground and then he rolled to the ground. But, he constantly worked on his physique, his conditioning, until he was able to withstand all the rough play that people imposed on him, defenders imposed on him. And he was out jumping, he was out kicking everybody. So if you are a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, instead of a Messi fan, he's another great example.
Yeah. He literally took a number 7's body and carved it into a number 9's body. And it's staggering. And now he's scoring goals from the halfway line, right? Or 40 yards out or whatever it is. Yeah. But as always, great comment. Another good one is about this one from, is it Go Kart?
Go Kart SSG, regular viewer. Thanks very much. Lessons we can draw from the recent South Korea and the Thailand games is that the Singapore national team has been lightweight up front, that means in the attack, for a very long time. No disrespect to Perry Ng, but I see no point in FAS moving mountains and swerving around rolls of red tape just to get Perry to represent Singapore because he is a defender. He plays right back. And there are emergence of youngsters in that position and the return of Safwan Baharudin and so on and so forth. Irfan Fandi, Haris Harun had also good players in defense. And Irfan Fandi, who is a towering striker in the mold of Neil's boy, Walt Weghorst.
How dare you? How dare you upset Irfan Fandi?
Was converted to defenders.
How dare you compare Irfan Fandi to Walt Weghorst? That's a shame on Fandi's different league to Walt Weghorst.
So anyway, FAS needs to identify promising overseas-based attackers and playmakers who have the Singapore heritage. They'll be more worth.
Okay, quick one. Yes, obviously, in an ideal world, round pegs for round holes. That would go without saying. We're not in that position. Beggars can't be choosers. And I'll say it again. Whatever the position, outfield position, if you are good enough to be one of the championship players of the season and you come down, no disrespect, you come down to this level, you could stick him anywhere. Yeah. You could stick him in central midfield. You could stick him right back. You could put him in Trent Alexander's position. You could play him anywhere. The difference is so big.
And just for that, I went to search for his highlights on YouTube. He's a good dead ball specialist some more. Yeah. Barry Ng. You can just stick him in right wing instead of right back. He can cause all sorts of problems with his crosses and stuff. Why wouldn't you want him?
Yeah. I don't care if he's a goalkeeper. We'll have him. All right? He's that good, we'll have him. What do you think?
Also, I think this problem about being lightweight up front, it's a problem that all Asian nations actually come up against. Because if you think about it, even the J-League and the K-League, right? K-League even now, actually, they still rely on foreign strikers and foreign playmakers. So if you notice, right, actually the Lions, LCS, right, the bulk, Maxime Lestienne has 25 goals and 21 assists. Right, but the bulk of the goal scoring and the goal creating is by our foreigners. So in the premier club side in Singapore, right, we don't have a Singaporean who's used to pulling the strings, and yet on the international stage we expect these players to come pull the strings. It's impossible, and which is why, to his point, right, I think Iksan and Ilhan Fandi are very, very good players. So I would differ slightly from his point. I would say we have a problem with playmaking on the international stage, and that's why we have to play the way we play. There's no one to unlock those doors. It's almost impossible to play anything except counter-attacking football. And with Iksan and Ilhan, we have half a chance. With them being injured the way they are, we don't really have a chance.
No, that's a very good point. Yeah. Very, very good point. But if you don't have the playmakers, you play 10 men behind the ball, but you don't have the physicality.
You're losing out in every way. Yeah.
Exactly, which ties in very nicely with our next comment about the national coach. Yeah, the recent news about the national coach.
Yeah. No, so after losing to South Korea 5-0 and then to Thailand 3-1, in the past World Cup qualifiers. So now all eyes are on whether Nishigaya will be allowed to extend his contract, which ends next April. So technically, he still has 2 matches in 2 World Cup qualifiers in March to prove himself. But from what Straits Times reported, the FAS has already sounded out to potential replacements, and the fact that Nishigaya, I mean, for all he's a decent man, I've seen him, but I think he's overmatched on the international stage. So how I feel is that the dynamics of being a national team coach is different from being a club football coach. No matter how successful you are, as a national team coach, you are less concerned about nurturing players. You're less concerned about tactic, putting your tactics into play, like Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp, who haven't managed the national teams yet. You are concerned about, you already have the advantage of picking the best players. So what you need to do is communicate simple instructions to them, because you don't have much time to get to train them anyway. Then you need to inspire them to play for your style, play for that style. And next thing, you must get the whole nation behind you to pull behind the national team during this kind of World Cup qualifiers. And then maybe something might happen. You might overachieve, or you might even do even better than before. And unfortunately, Nishigaya, I'll be honest, I never found him to be good in doing those things as a national team coach. And it shows that the team plays defense, but it's still error prone. And then they sometimes they don't know what to do on the pitches and stuff. So I'm not sure. I don't know how FAS feels about this. I do hope they do have some potential candidates which they can consider when his contract comes up.
Yeah, I actually couldn't agree more with what you said there. Look, whoever FAS is going to pick next, whoever the Lions manager is going to be, FAS could do well with listening to Gary Lineker and Gary Neville, 2 players from 2 completely different generations who have both essentially said the same thing in the last 24 hours, which is Terry Venables was the greatest communicator they ever worked with at any level. In fact, Neville went a step further. He said he was the greatest British coach he ever worked with, and he worked with Ferguson, right? Because Venables' communication skills with players was legendary. He went to Barcelona and learned Spanish for that very reason. Pep Guardiola took a sabbatical to learn English before he came to England, right? Fabio Capello didn't. One of the worst England managers they've ever had, despite his success.
And Nishigaya didn't.
Exactly. You've got to be able to communicate with your boys in the dressing room, whatever the common language happens to be. It could be English, Malay, Spanish, German, Japanese, it doesn't matter. But in this instance, it's invariably English. You've got to communicate with the boys. If you can't, there's very few examples in world football where you've been able to succeed if you can't get the boys in the dressing room. And that's what they need with the next coach.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eddie?
No, definitely, and which is why it actually worries me a little that the public sort of thrown their weight behind one of the candidates, Kazuaki Yoshinaga, very successful Albirex coach.
Albirex,
So 2 reasons why I'm a bit worried, because number one, he still does his press conferences in English. In Japanese. Now, I'm not sure whether he's just being cautious because he doesn't want to be misquoted, or whether he really has an issue speaking English. If he has, then isn't this just part 2, right?
Yeah.
And he's got his success, right? But it's with a bunch of Japanese boys who are playing for their future in Singapore. They're on 1-year, 2-year contracts. They're playing for their financial futures. They have no distractions, these Japanese boys, and they play an attacking philosophy.
They're hungry.
They're hungry and they play an attacking philosophy. How's that? How's that going to translate to? And I don't doubt his ability. I think if he had the national setup for like 1 year to train with them, I think he can do wonders. But as Han Keong has pointed out, he has like 2 weeks every international break to how can he suddenly get them into nice passing triangles and all that? I don't know. So I do wonder if perhaps, Peter De Roo might be a better candidate former technical director in Malaysia as well. Yeah, but that's just my thoughts on
Who knows? Uncertain times for the Lions. But what is very certain is that his boys, Lion City Sailors, are representing the nation at the continental international stage. Wonderful stuff.
What a month you all have, man. First of all, there's that big win over Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors at the start of the month. Obviously, massive results. Everybody's like, whoa, you will beat the 9-time K-League champions. Wow.
Huge.
And then Maxime Lestienne won the Player of the Year, player at the FAS Awards. Richly deserved. 25 goals, 21 assists. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then just, I think yesterday or on Saturday, you all already qualified for the Singapore Cup semi-finals.
Yeah.
But now you're facing
facing Tampines
yes, for in the semi-final, which will
nice game. Yes,
yeah. So all good times for Lion City Sailors right now.
And one more thing, the women's team as well. I think we just finished our second season unbeaten.
And
I think a lot of people are going to be thinking, yeah, but you guys are rich and everything, but not really. We've had to play some matches with one on the bench. We've had, it's a victim of our own success. Our players have been so good; they've been plucked to go overseas and everything.
Oh wow!
Like Unleash the Raw has sent some of them overseas.
Correct.
Then there have been injuries. Some of them are going for trials in Spain and everything. So
they've still gone unbeaten.
And they've still gone unbeaten.
Wow,
right? So twice, two years in a row, and I think that's as good an achievement as any.
Brilliant. Well, let's talk about the Asian Champions League. You were there at the stadium.
Yes.
Firstly, tell us, what was the atmosphere like? And you're going to the game up in Bangkok. What do you think it's going to be like? What are your expectations?
I'll tell you something that I think a lot of people might not expect me to say. I think a lot of people expect me to come and talk about the football, but you've asked about the stadium, so I'm going to tell you something. When we went up to Korea, some of us paid our way there. Some of us, the club had a competition, and these people won the competition to go up. So we had a bunch of about 15 people. We tried our best as usual. But when we went there and we watched Jeonbuk's Ultras, and we watched not just Jeonbuk, but we went to watch a K2 game, so the second league in Korea. And we looked at their Ultras. And then, as funny as it might be, it's about football, but it's also about the fans. And we felt like, actually, we're so many levels below the fans in these countries as well. And so that lit a fire under our butts. And then we said, you know what, let's make that Wednesday special. So usually people filter in late and everything, and not late, but like close to kickoff. But we said, no, let's meet much earlier. Let's do something special. We'll cheer throughout the warm-up. So they were drumming, there was shouting and chanting throughout the warm-up. And I think the players noticed there was something a bit different. And we thought, this is the best showcase for us. And the players did their part for sure.
And they won,
And they won. So the party was like insane.
All through the night.
That's how it should be. That's how a local fan base should be. Hats off, man. Hats off to Lion City Sailors. Wonderful. Right. Moving ahead, you're off to Bangkok. How do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I'm actually flying tomorrow. So it's a very tough game. So Bangkok United, for those unacquainted, they are unbeaten at the top of the Thai League. Wow. They have not lost a single match in the Champions League or in the Thai League. And they've already played Buriram, who are the traditional powerhouses. So it's insane, and they don't have a marquee player, which makes it even more amazing. Right? Yeah. So if you ask me right now, I'm going to say I'm not confident that we're going to win.
But we watched them, remember both of us watched them when they we played them at...
Correct.
When you played them.
Yeah.
I thought... they're good, excellent, but they're not unbeatable.
No, take into account the artificial turf. We have to take that into account. But first half, for most of the first half, there was nothing in it.
Yeah.
There was nothing in it, Eddie.
Yes. I think they took a while to get used to the artificial turf, as you said. Even Jeonbuk struggled badly. I think they struggled really badly with the turf, and they couldn't find their passing range. Now it's in their stadium.
I heard the stadium takes a while to get to.
It takes a while to get to 1 hour without jam. But it's...
2 hours.
It's going to be... I think it's going to be tough, honestly. I hope that we get at least a draw. A draw puts us on 7 points, and then we have a home game to come. My aim is just, I hope that our boys can improve on last year's tally. I think we can go step by step. It would not be a disappointment to me if we crashed out at the group stage, but obviously a fan can hope. So if we get the 3 points, then we come back and get another 3 points against Kitchi. That's almost certain qualification.
Fabulous. Well, I don't care. Let's have the heart ruling the head. I'm going to say a draw. 1-1 draw. What do you think?
Why not? 1-1 draw. I'll be happy with draw, and then maybe come back. We'll hope for the best. Yeah.
2-1 to the Sailors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's more like it.
more
That's
like a friend.
why. I like
More
his
like a
phrase.
friend.
Light a fire under the butts of LCS supporters. That's what we need
So
in
will
Singapore.
you be going there early to cheer for them?
Oh,
the
for
warm-up
sure,
to
for sure.
From the warm-up.
But the away games, right, we go in very early because we need to set up all the flags and everything. We do that for the home games as well, but in the away games, you sort of have to factor in that security check might take longer, and also it's fresh surroundings. We're not really sure what to do, so we go there very, very early, actually.
Fantastic.
Honestly, I say this sincerely. Singapore could do with 50,000 like him. Huh?
What a
50,000 like him would have no problems. Absolutely fantastic. What do you guys think? How are the Lions City Sailors going to do on the continental stage? Send all of your predictions and thoughts to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Brilliant. And just one final shout out again. Thank you all who came down in your thousands to Downtown East for our Yahoo podcast. That was absolutely great.
Thank you very much.
Organised by StarHub, who've got something for you.
Yep. So if you sign up for their Premier League Plus package, you get not only will you get your all your EPL matches live, you can watch it on your mobile devices, you can rewatch the full matches at your own time. More importantly, you get a great deal. 1 year free broadband. What a deal. But as StarHub tells us, it's going to end very, very soon. So don't waste time. Go and sign up.
Don't get me started. I cry myself to sleep over this deal. So sign up for this deal. All right? It's the best deal ever. Eddie, good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Flying the flag,
Good
man.
luck for our sailors.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Support the Sailors. We'll see you again. Same time, same place next week. Do take care.
Take care, man.
Go Sailors.